comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. Happy Thanksgiving for yesterday, you fucking Yanks. I still don't know what the fuck Thanksgiving is about. Is it about Mormons eating turkeys? I don't know. It can't have anything to do with the Spanish, I don't think. They have paella and shit like that, empanadas. Yamon. So it's got to be Mormons. When the Christians came to America, I don't know. All I know is Australians will probably start celebrating it in a couple of years. And if I ever see an Australian celebrate Thanksgiving in Australia, I'm going to take a US-made AR-15 and start blowing fucking heads off. I feel like Australia is about 3 years away from celebrating Thanksgiving. Halloween has gradually fucking snuck its way into the fucking culture. Soon it will be Thanksgiving. Next thing you know, we'll have George Washington Day. I'd celebrate them all if we got a day off. I'd be happy to. And if you're from the US and you're thinking to yourself, well, I might send Boyle a little message explaining what Thanksgiving is. Save it, because I do not give a fuck. I could Google it if I cared. I could have Googled it 5 minutes before I started this podcast and then waxed lyrical about how much fucking knowledge I know about it. But I didn't, because I do not fucking care. I can't even remember if last year I Googled it to figure out what the fuck Thanksgiving is, and then I've just forgotten it again. Thanksgiving seems like it's the day where everyone pretends they're in a community for one day, and then once the turkey's digested, you just get back to killing each other. It should be the inverse. You should pretend you're in a community for a full year, and then one day a year you just get to murder whoever the fuck you want. You're allowed 3 people, you're allowed 3 murders, and it's first in, first served. So only like a handful of people will even get to 3 murders before they're murdered. And it can only be family members. It has to be direct family members, all the way to third cousins and great aunties. I think we can live with that, can't we? Now I'm looking forward to Thanksgiving in Australia. Bring it on. Anyway, it's been a fucking cunt of a day. I'll talk about it tomorrow. I've got fucking gigs tonight. I've got a gig in a hostel in the fucking Himalayas. Fuck knows how that's going to go. Actually, I know exactly how it's going to go. It's going to go like the Boyle's Thanksgiving. I'm going to fucking murder. Anyway, it's fucking Friday, and you know exactly what that means. That means it's time for this week's Fucked Up Friday. If you would like to send in your own story to be read out on this podcast, send it into my email, boylecomedy@gmail.com, or join the Patreon. You can skip the fucking line, get your story in a little bit quicker. But really, only join the Patreon if you appreciate what I'm doing. It's a sign of your appreciation because I'm not offering you anything extra. It's just a tip of the fucking hat from you to me. That's what the Patreon is. Now fucking subscribe. The links are in my social media bios, or just message me directly and I'll send you the link myself with a little bit of a fucking message saying thank you. Anyway, let's move right along to this week's Fucked Up Friday. So this week's Fucked Up Friday is from Tom in fucking Nottingham. Isn't that where fucking Robin Hood's from? Probably. Anyway, let's get fucking to it. Here it is, this week's Fucked Up Friday. So I'm getting fucked up with a mate at his house. I've known him since I was about 7. We used to fight in primary school all the time. Sometimes I'd win. Hold on, why the fuck am I reading this? These fucking preambles to these stories are getting a little bit self-indulgent, people. But I suppose you like sharing it with your friends, don't you? You fucking gays. Anyway, where was I? I've known him since I was fucking about 7. We used to fight in primary school all the time. Sometimes I'd win. Once I pinned him in a headlock in front of the lads in the year above who were shouting the age-old, "Fight, fight, fight." After his humiliating loss, he punches one of those razor-sharp porter cabin walls and turns his knuckles into a bloody mess. Another time, I taunted him that he was too fat and slow to hit me, following which he span around and caught me straight in the nose, putting me on my ass. Shot, you cunt. Anyway. Yes, anyway. You're right. Anyway. We've had a lot of rivalry over the years. As I say, we're at his. Some fucking drug den of a gaff he had when we were like 20. You'd literally do the scene in Lock, Stock. You'd come in saying hi to everyone, then go to sit down and perch on some spaced out bird because she'd become part of the sofa. The days of ketamine. We're drinking and the coke is flowing. Naturally, what follows is drug-fueled bravado. My mate says, "Wait there." He runs upstairs and I obviously nab an extra line on the sly while he's gone. Nice. He comes back and goes, "Check this out," and pulls out a CO2 gas canistered BB gun. Although this city has the nickname Shottingham, this isn't the Outback or LA. It was the closest thing I'd seen to a gun since Dad showed me his .38 snub nose when I was 5. It's the middle of summer and it's hot as fuck. We start to shoot at all the cunt mosquitoes flying around the room and the moths drawn towards the lampshade. We're laughing and joking, hitting nothing. Then out of nowhere, he turns to me at point blank range, aims the gun straight at my face. Boom! We're back in year 4. It's on, bitch. It was like the Sherlock films where shit goes slow motion and the camera pans 360 degrees around us. Who hasn't imagined this moment? If in the scenario when you're at gunpoint, the greatest test of them all, are you enough of a John Wick cunt to disarm the hostage taker? I'd done some martial arts in the past and honed in on all my training. Robert Downey talks to me. Move your head first, then grab the weapon. Quick as a flash, I make my move and bang, the gun goes off. We pause for a second to take stock, like when O-Ren is caught by Beatrix in Kill Bill 2. Shut up with your fucking movie quotes. Let's get on with it. The look on my mate's face says it all. He shot me in the eye. It starts to cloud and my vision blurs. While the blood runs down the right side of my cheek, I can remember my first thought. I'm going to be the weird kid in the corner with an eye patch. God, I'm an egotistical fuck. I was so coked off my tits I couldn't feel a thing. He runs for a phone and says, "Fuck, I'll call an ambulance." I respond, "Go fuck yourself, you're driving me." I knew what he was thinking, and in any other situation he would have said, "Tom, I'm far, far too fucked up to drive now, and if we get pulled over, I'm fucked." But after shooting me in the face, I could have asked to fuck his mum, and he'd have had to oblige. He'd have had to. That's fucked. His mum's lovely, and I'd never do that, but I'd definitely fuck his sister. Nice. So we jump in the car and go straight for the CD player. We're burning it at about 100 miles per hour through the city, blasting Tyler, the Creator, Rella. It was pretty surreal. We were acting as if nothing had happened, as if we were just headed out on our road trip down to New Quay. So we get to the hospital. I'm like, "Drop me here, I'll call you." The details are hazy, but I think we assumed my assassin shouldn't be checking me in. I get into the waiting room and there's a guy that's been stabbed wailing his head off. I think, would I rather be stabbed and in agony or shot and going blind? Stabbed, of course. Fuck anything with your eye. Fucking stab me right in the liver, I don't give a fuck, but don't touch my shiny blue eyes. The receptionist is obviously pretty freaked out after being greeted by a man crying blood. They pass me from pillar to post and eventually tell me that they need to get a regional eye specialist in, but he won't arrive for another 4 hours. After sitting there relentlessly praying to God for my sight to come back and listening to Stabbed Cunt, the doctor finally arrives. He takes me in, looks at my eye and says, "Where's the bullet?" I say, "It's in there." He says, "In where?" I say, "There," and point to my eye. His face drops, he sits back, mouth wide open. He then leans forward and moves the blue surgical gloves towards my eye and starts pushing and rolling the BB around under my skin. He looks me dead in the face and says, "Do you have any idea how lucky you are?" My first thought was, well, yeah, that I'm not blind, but also unlucky to have a mate that shoots you in the face. The BB had pierced my eyelid. Fuck. It went through your eyelid. So you were quick enough to close your eyes, just not quick enough to dodge it. So the BB had pierced my eyes, but the shot was just low enough to strike my eye socket. In another stroke of luck, because we'd used so much of the CO2 canister on insects, the gun was only a third of its power. Otherwise, the BB would have ricocheted off the bone, best case into my eyeball, worst case past it and into my head. Jesus Christ. The doctor removes the bullet. Hey, it's a fucking good story. I'm loving it. You got shot in the eye, but it wasn't with a fucking bullet. It was a BB. Stop calling it a fucking bullet. You basically got shot with one of those fucking orange suction cap things and you're calling it a fucking bullet. Just calm down. So the doctor removes the BB and I pass out in a hospital bed. I wake up later about 4 a.m, vision restored. I'd left my phone at my mate's in the panic, but I look over at the bedside table and he's given me his to call him when I'm done. I scroll through his photos, find a nude of his girlfriend and have a wank. Great tits, we're quits. I hope that's fucking true. You should have sent it to yourself too. I then call my phone, he answers, and I say, bring escape mag and a joint. I'll meet you in the car park in half an hour. It was a good night. That was a fucking killer story. You need mates like that as well. You need friends that will shoot you directly in the face for no particular reason. They keep you on your toes. They're the funnest people to have around. Anyway, cheers, Tom, for sending that in. Fucking happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there, especially the Australians. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you the fuck later.